Hello friends, I am Sunil sir and I am back with a new video. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss about fertilization and implantation, one of the most important topic with respect to human reproduction. So let's understand first of all what is fertilization. So I can say in the simplest way, it is nothing but the union of haploid sperm with the haploid ovum to form a diploid zygote is called as fertilization. Now this is a very common step for fertilization in all the living organisms which shows sexual reproduction. Let's talk about humans. What exactly happens? The very first step is copulation. Copulation is nothing but it is mating. In case of mating, what happens? So we say during copulation the semen is nothing but it is the sperm plus the secretion of all the three glands. It can be Cowper's gland, prostate gland and seminal vesicle or seminal fluid. So all these three plus the sperm together make semen is released by the penis into the vagina of the female and it is called as insemination. The process by which the semen is released is called as insemination. So after copulation it takes place. What exactly goes on? There is a fusion of sperm with the ovum, that is called as fertilization. Millions of sperms are released at one time, and out of those millions of sperm, only one sperm reaches till the ovum and it helps in fertilization. So where exactly fertilization takes place? It is one of the important questions which is always asked during NEET exam. The site of fertilization. The site of fertilization is ampullary junction. Remember, the site of fertilization is ampullary junction. Where is the ampullary junction? So it is here, the ampulla isthmic junction, and this ampulla isthmic junction is the site where the sperm and the egg meet and fertilization takes place. So we can say that this is the pathway through which the sperm travels, and after traveling it goes into the fallopian tube. Finally it reaches to the ampulla where the egg from the ovary comes and sperm unites to form the zygote. So let us look at the pathway. So sperm is released into the vagina, it passes through the cervical canal, it goes into the uterus, isthmus, finally ampullary junction where egg and the sperm unite together. Or even it can take place from other side also, ovum from the ovary, the egg is released, it is collected by the fimbriae, goes into the infundibulum and ampulla. So this pathway is for the egg which travels and this pathway is for the sperm which travels. Remember students, whether it is sperm or the egg, they have to meet together at the ampullary junction, which is the most important point, the site for fertilization. What exactly happens? So remember, fertilization happens only if ovum and sperm are transported simultaneously, because sperm also has a lifespan of only 72 hours in the reproductive system of the female. It can fertilize the egg in the first 24 to 48 hours. So all copulation does not lead to fertilization and pregnancy. The reason being very much simple. The egg and the ovum, they don't meet at the right time when they are ready for fertilization. A sperm contacts with the zona pellucida. Now the point is, what is zona pellucida? Zona pellucida is a protein layer, a covering around the egg. Now this zona pellucida is not at all a cellular layer. Remember, it's a protein layer, it is not made up of cell. What exactly it happens? The moment sperm touches the zona pellucida, it changes the membrane, and finally when it changes the membrane, what happens? It forms the anti-fertilizing membrane that will not allow any other sperm to enter. So the point here is, the moment one sperm with its head touches the zona pellucida, what will happen? It will form a covering around the egg, which is anti-fertilizing membrane. It will not allow any other sperm to enter. Means only one sperm will enter at one time. So in the head of the sperm there is acrosome. Now this acrosome secretes certain chemicals or hormones. These hormones then enters into the egg cytoplasm via zona pellucida and the plasma membrane. Now the moment sperm touches the egg or the zona pellucida, what happens? The egg starts completing its meiosis 2, because we all know that the egg never completes its meiosis 2 or oogenesis. So the moment sperm touches the zona pellucida, the egg starts completing its meiotic division, and secondary oocyte is formed, and finally it forms an ovum and the second polar body is released. So for the completion of oogenesis, remember students, the egg has to be arrested at the metaphase stage of the meiosis, and the most important, the moment sperm touches the vitelline membrane or the zona pellucida of the egg, the meiosis continues and the egg completes its oogenesis. The haploid nuclei of the sperm and the ovum fuse together to form a diploid zygote. This is very important step. Now what goes on the next? Zygote, once it is formed, it undergoes mitotic division, which is called as cleavage. What is cleavage now? The cleavage in case of human, it is holoplastic and it is equal cleavage. Means these cells will divide. So when the zygote divides to form two cells, what are these cells called as? These cells which are formed, they are called as blastomeres. So it undergoes second division forming 4-cell stage, then it will again go mitosis forming 8-cell stage, and the 16-cell stage is formed, which is called as morula. The 16-cell stage, now the cells will arrange themselves in a definite pattern to form the blastocyst or blastula. So we can say zygote undergoes mitotic division, cleavage starts, it moves through the isthmus towards the uterus. So as the cleavage is going on, the fertilized egg is also moving from the ampullary junction towards the uterus, forming 2-cell, 4-cell, 8-cell and 16 daughter cells called blastomeres. The embryo with, very important point with respect to need, the embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres, they are called as morula. Morula continues to divide and transform into a blastocyst. This blastocyst shows the presence of cavity. That cavity is called as blastocele cavity. Now in blastocyst, what happens? The blastomere arranges itself into layers. So the outermost layer that is formed is called as trophoblast, and the inner cell mass which is attached to the trophoblast. When you look at the diagram very carefully, you will understand this is the blastocele, the cavity, and when it is arranging itself, the outermost layer will be called as, so if I draw this as the blastula, so the cells of this outermost cells of blastula is called as trophoblast, and the remaining cells will arrange or attach itself towards one side, and these cells are basically inner cell mass. Once blastulation has taken place, the blastula formation is completed, then it will undergo a very important step called as implantation. After implantation, what starts is the gastrulation. Gastrulation means there will be formation of 3 germ layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So let's take a look. The trophoblast gives nourishment to the inner cell mass. So the blue color cells gives nourishment to the red color cells. Also it gets attached to the endometrium. Now what is endometrium? You can say it is the inner lining of the uterus. Endometrium is the site for implantation. The inner cell mass gets differentiated to form 3 germ layers. What are those 3 germ layers? Outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm and inner endoderm. This layer formation, the 3 germ layer formation, the process is called as gastrulation, and the formation is gastrula. And this gastrulation leads to the formation of embryo. So this is endometrium, innermost lining. This is the uterine cavity. Blastocyst gets attached into the endometrium and it gets buried inside the endometrium. So this burying of the blastocyst in the endometrium is called as implantation. Remember this. Now when we go with respect to this, after attachment, uterine cells divide rapidly and covers the blastocyst. Means the uterus cells will cover the blastocyst in such a way that the blastocyst gets embedded in the endometrium, and this is called as implantation. Endometrium grows over the surrounding embryo and finally the implantation takes place. So remember students, let's take a look at this at a glance, how things are happening. So we say that the sperm is released, it reaches till the ampulla, and finally ovum is released from the ovary. The sperm and ovum meet at a point, that is ampulla, where fertilization takes place. This fertilization results in the completion of the oogenesis of the egg, and most important, after this, cleavage takes place. So zygote formation, cleavage, 2-cell stage, 4-cell stage, 8 cell stage, finally 16 cell stage morula. Now till morula you can say zona pellucida is there. Even after blastocyst the zona pellucida remains, and once the cells are arranged, the outermost layer of the cell is called as trophoblast of blastula, and there is inner mass cell. Once the blastocyst formation takes place, there is implantation taking place. After implantation, there is very important step taking place, gastrulation, that is formation of 3 germ layers. And once the 3 germ layers are formed, there is development of complete embryo. So this is how fertilization and implantation takes place in human.